What's up, everybody? How you doing? It's the Cover Band Central podcast number 222 for October 22nd, Tuesday, 2024. I'm Steve Witchell in New Orleans.
Tony B coming to you from New Jersey. What's happening?
Yes, we are live. It's been a while since we've done this live. So
Steve and
anybody
Tony live.
Yeah, so anybody that's watching here, we're streaming right now on the Cover Band Central Facebook page and on the Cover Band Central YouTube channel. Come on in and say hello. Tell us where you're from, and we will say hello back and include you in the conversation. And we'll see if anybody comes in. It's been a while since we've done this live, and we don't announce it, we don't plan it or anything.
It's kind of like doing an unannounced gig and hoping people show up.
Yeah, something like that. Hope the venue promotes it.
Yeah, you never know. Those guys are sketchy sometimes.
People complain about that all the time. Like, the venue's not promoting our show. Well, sometimes they just don't.
Well, and if you have a coordinated effort, you kind of talk to the venue about that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not in your case, but I know in our case we do that. Most venues will absolutely, promote the band and, encourage the bands to do so as well.
There was a short period of time here earlier this year where there was an effort by the Bourbon Street clubs that are owned by this one company that Bourbon Bandstand, where I work, is owned by this company, and they own 5 or 6 other clubs. And there was an effort for a little while for social media posting, and it was pretty consistent for like 2 months, I'd say. And that's it. It dropped off. I don't know why. I don't know who was doing it. I don't know why they started it. I don't know why they stopped.
Yeah, but the 2-month litmus test to see what right response there would be.
They were putting up good posts. They were creating like good memes and stuff like that, but there was no. They still didn't really know what they were doing.
But Steve, do you think that Bourbon Street clubs need to advertise?
No,
exactly.
It can't hurt. But
no, but I mean that's the thing too. Like we played this past weekend up here in Jersey. It was for middle of October, 78 degrees out, as it was 80 degrees today. So Sunday, we played outside at a brewery. They advertised it. We advertised it. There's still 300 people there. Just because it's almost 80 degrees on a Sunday afternoon, and why not go outside and hang out at the brewery and go see a great band,
Well, is this a place where people would go and hang out anyway if there was no band?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but because there's a band, it's even more, of a reason for them to go, because they have music, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And, being that the outdoor season's coming to an end, up here in the Northeast, it was nice to have, another gig outdoors to kind of end the season at that place, because we don't play there again till next year.
Right. Yeah, it's been unseasonably warm up there. I know, because I was up in Jersey last weekend, and it was pretty warm, and it's been warm here, and it's going to be in the 80s all week coming. So I don't know.
Yeah, but you're used to that. We don't usually typically have 80-degree weather in the 3rd week of October.
I might be used to it, but I don't like it. I don't have to like it.
You don't have to like it. No. But I can tell you that I am liking this 80-degree weather.
Sure.
Because, it starts to drop again, and next week it'll be cooler. So it's cool.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Once again, we are live broadcasting on the Facebook page on Cover Band Central. If you're listening to the audio podcast and you do not follow us, check us out on Facebook, Cover Band Central. There is a page, there is a group. Join the group, follow the page, and the YouTube channel to subscribe to that. Lots of stuff on there. I did a couple interviews over the past couple weeks while we weren't doing podcasts. I interviewed Gene one more time from Kashmir.
Mm-hmm.
he's got a bunch of shows, and he's doing next year is the 50th anniversary of the album Physical Graffiti by Led Zeppelin, and they're going to do the album in its entirety. They're going to do a bunch of shows. They're playing over in Europe, in England, and uh, some other places in Europe.
Very cool.
So I did an interview with him, and I did one with Mike Massey, who you may not know, but he put out a cover of Toto's Africa. It's 14 years ago or so now, and it went viral. It was just him and this other guy, Jeff Hall, playing bass, and Mike was playing guitar and singing, and Jeff was singing backups. And it was just this pizza joint in Utah that they would play on Monday nights and Fridays too sometimes. And they just happened to film it, and it's just an exceptional version of that song. And it
Excellent.
went viral. So I've known about him for a long time, and I've never talked to him. So I reached out to him, and we did a pretty cool interview, which I have not posted yet. We recorded it. We didn't do live, so that'll be coming soon.
You'll have to get that cover of Africa on the Cover Band Central radio station.
It's already on. I already put it on there, and that was one of the reasons
It's
I wanted.
already on.
That's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to him, because I was like, I want to get a sound or like an ID from him. Like, this is Mike Massey, and you're listening to. But yeah, I wanted to talk to him about that. Yeah, and I did put another one of his songs on there. I can't recall right now which one it is, but the radio station, if you don't know what Tony's talking about, is something
What
that
are
I
we talking
started.
about, Steve? What is Cover Band Central Radio?
Cover Band
Now that
Central
we're at
Radio. It's you can find it on a thing called Live 365 right now. That's the only place it is. But if you go there and search Cover Band Central, you'll find it. I have about 120, 130 songs on there now, and I'm adding songs slowly but surely. It's going to take a while, because
Yeah.
it's a whole process to find good songs and then convert them to MP3s, and then get all the information and upload it and all that stuff. So, but it's a fun process. I love it. I love discovering these new talents out there, and great versions of great songs. So
Killer.
it's a marathon, not a sprint. This endeavor, but
Yes.
but yeah, it's cool. I still have the Indiegogo going on, and if anybody wants to contribute, if you're listening to this or watching this, go to coverbandcentral.com and you'll get the info right there. There's a pop-up that comes up right away when you go to the website right now, and you can get the info about that, and throw in a couple bucks, because it's going to be it's going to cost a lot of money to get this done. So there's that going on. What else I got going on? Yeah, interviews, radio station, and same old stuff. The group is still growing like crazy.
And you're up
The
in
page.
Jersey a couple weeks ago?
I was up in Jersey last weekend, and nothing to do with Cover Band Central. I was the MD, musical director, for a mini Comic-Con kind of thing. And that's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Doing that stuff, I take care of all the music, and I do sound effects during this guy's monologue, and yeah, that's
Musical director Steve Witchell.
Yes, sir. And yeah, that's it. Just playing on weekends. It's a great time of year here. I say it every year, but October in New Orleans is a great time of year to play or to visit. Because the weather is cooler, and there's a lot of people, and it's Halloween. Halloween's a big deal here in this town. This weekend is Taylor Swift weekend, because Taylor Swift is playing at the Superdome on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All 3 days.
All sold out.
All 3 nights. I don't know if it's sold out. I know the tickets are super expensive, but my brother's going. My brother and his wife and his 2 daughters, they're coming from Florida to go see that show. They'll be here Friday.
Cool.
So I told the guys in the band this past weekend, I said, we should learn a Taylor Swift song. because there's going to be a lot of Taylor Swift fans in town.
Right.
And one of the singers that we play with knows a few Taylor Swift songs, this girl. And I asked her which songs we should do, and she mentioned a couple. And then I mentioned it to the band. What do you think the chances are, Tony, that these guys are going to actually learn a Taylor Swift song?
Learn it correctly or learn it enough to do it?
Make any attempt whatsoever at it.
Maybe listen to it on the way to the gig in the
No.
car?
The chances are zero. Zero.
Does that mean
Oh,
what
that's
kinds
a
of
little hard.
what kinds of hearts?
Because I made it. I wasn't trying to do a heart, but there you go. Wow, isn't that cool?
Look at that. Nothing.
There you go.
Nothing. All right.
For those of you listening to the podcast, Tony just put up his middle finger.
And I did not
I think
see
if you
any.
do the thumbs up, it works. Yeah.
No, look, nothing.
I thought the thumbs up worked. No? Yeah. Whatever.
Nope.
But
Anyway,
yeah, I mean,
when you say zero, is that because you're saying that they're not going to make an effort to learn it, or that they will have no interest in learning it, or you'll get to the gig and be ready to play it, and they'll be like, "Oh no, we didn't get a chance to work on it, so we're not doing it."
no, it's not. It didn't even get that far. It's not even where somebody picked a song and everybody agreed on it, and we said, okay, we're going to learn that song. Like, it didn't even get that far. It was, I mentioned it, and then that was it, and it was probably forgotten about 2 minutes later. And certainly not thought about this week. And that is the issue I have with this band. One of the issues I have with this band. And I don't want to be coming on here slamming my band, because I do enjoy my job, and the band is good.
And you want to remain friends with all the people in your band and be friends with everyone in your band.
Right. But they just don't. They're not very motivated on days that we're not playing to do really anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I'm fortunate that I do play in a band that we rehearse, several times a month. We learn a bunch of new songs, and everyone dedicates a fair amount of time to perfecting their parts, so that when we do come out to play it, it is, very authentic and it sounds good, because, now we got Cole in the band playing lap steel and rhythm guitar, and a bunch of different, acoustic 12 string. So a lot of those songs with the arrangements, like, if you don't work on them, they're not going to sound correct. Some of them are intricate. Like we just did "Reeling in the Years" by Steely Dan. Spent a full rehearsal on just the backing vocal parts of who's singing what harmony, so it sounds authentic to what the studio version sounds like.
Look at that timing, because John Deers just said, "Do you do harmony rehearsals?"
Look at that, John Deers. Yes, we do. We do, on songs like that, or "Heartache Tonight" by Eagles. Like, it's another new one we learned. Bunch of harmonies and backgrounds in those. So yeah, it's important to do, to have harmonies, because we got 4 people that sing in the band. So,
Yeah.
You can't just double the lead guy, right? Because everyone's natural tendency to sing a harmony is to just double what the lead guy's doing. If you have a different voice, of course, than the lead singer has, it's going to sound different. It just won't be a harmony. It won't sound like it's doubled. It'll sound like 2 people singing the same part, but with different timbres in their voice.
Right.
So as soon as you then say, no, you should be singing this, and you should be singing that, and and everyone sings their correct part, there you have it. Then the tricky part is to remember what you sang at rehearsal when the time comes for the gig, that you don't get influenced by hearing someone else's vocal harmony in your monitor that pulls you over to the dark side and drift off of your note that you're supposed to be singing.
Yeah. Yeah. You are fortunate that you get to do that. I don't get to do that, but we've been playing the same damn songs for so long. And in my band, the guitar player, Chris, and I are the main ones who do harmonies. And he and I have been working together for a long time, so we know each other well. We know who's going to pick what part. If we're doing a newer song or something, we know, because he's got a higher range. He's got a very good range. He's got a really good falsetto, and he can sing low too. But he typically takes the higher harmony and we just kind of we could just look at each other, nod, and that's it, and we know what we're doing. But yeah, most of the songs we do, we've been doing them for so long, so we've just been stuck with those harmonies. But what I do, my trick is like there's a couple songs like Any Way You Want It by Journey, um, and Kansas, uh, Kansas, you know,
Oh
the
yeah.
Kansas song, the Kansas song,
Wayward Son?
Carry On Wayward Son. Both of those songs start with vocals, and so what I do is I just play the note on my bass. I know what note I'm supposed to sing, so I just play it on my bass so I can hear it and then hum it in my head before I have to sing it, and then nail it.
Nice.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah, it's
so
important,
but
man, because we play a lot of the same songs too, but we do try to mix it up because, um, we have a new singer, we have a bunch of new songs. I sing a bunch of songs now that, I never sang before. So that's a lot of fun.
yeah, that's cool. I'm singing a bunch more too now because our male singer is not working on Saturdays, at least for this month. So we have just a female singer on Saturday, and then if we get a request for a song that she doesn't sing or can't sing, then I sing it. So I've been singing a bunch of songs that I don't normally do. I've been doing the Creed stuff, so Higher and My Sacrifice. We both of those songs, and we do One as well by Creed.
And when you sing it, do you sing it like Steve Witchell or do you try to be like Scott Stapp?
I
I'm
try
a
to be
bird.
I try to be more like Scott Stapp. When I sing other people's songs, I typically try to kind of imitate the original
Yes.
singer
Yeah.
because like my voice, just my natural voice is just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of
Well, you know what I
plain,
mean?
I
Some
guess.
people sing and they have a great voice, but they sing the part, but they're singing it with their voice. So I
Yeah,
appreciate when someone sings a song and they actually take the time to learn the little isms and inflections and the things like, for example, like when you had mentioned Dirty Deeds. If you really listen
yeah,
to
yeah.
Dirty Deeds, there's a lot of times where he'll say something like, "I live a life of crime." Hoo! At the end of the end of the sentence, he'll go, "Hoo!" And he
Right.
does it a lot if you listen to the song. It's in there probably like a dozen times.
Really?
Yeah, but
Okay.
if you don't pick it up, like if you're not paying attention to it, you probably wouldn't notice it. But then once you hear it, you can't unhear it, you know? So that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I do, I do like a harmony in Enter Sandman sometimes, and I'll do the rah
Yeah,
rah.
yeah. Hey, speaking of Enter Sandman, did you see on the Metallica tour, the one they're doing now for 72 seasons, the stadium tour with the
Yeah,
big giant rotating stage with the pit in the middle and stuff like that?
yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize it, but they have 4 different drum sets in 4 different locations, facing 4 different directions, all identically mic'd, cymballed, exactly identical. And when Lars is done playing the first half hour set on the first drum set, where maybe his back is to the snake pit and he's facing the audience, he stands up. And as he walks to the location of the second one, the stage opens, that drum set drops down, the stage closes, and where he's walking to, the stage opens, and the next drum set comes up in a different orientation. Then he sits down and he plays the next half hour set on that kit. And that might be facing, a different direction where it's, 90 degrees turned. And then after that half hour set, he gets up and that drum set disappears and he walks across to the next location. And that drum set is oriented in a different thing. And
Wow.
at each location, there's also all kinds of vocal mics and different things around him to where the band can, commiserate with him. But they asked him, they said, "Well, but if the whole thing is very slowly turning, like everyone's going to get the same view of you eventually." And he's like, "Yeah, but if I'm facing the snake pit for this set, because the 1,000 people are in that pit, my back is to the entire audience that's, in the stadium. So the
Nobody
next kit
cares, Lars. Nobody
is
wants to
facing the
see
other
you
way."
anyway.
Yeah, I know, but it was just pretty interesting to be like, wow, he's got 4 kits, 4 sets of cymbals, 4 sets of microphones, like 4 sets of everything. And they use some triggers on the toms just to keep some continuity so that all the drums sound the same. And he said
Wow.
that's the hardest part, to get every kit to sound like the previous one, so that
Yeah,
when he plays, it's consistently the same sound.
that must be super expensive. But that
Oh, yeah,
that
I'm sure.
show Yeah, that show is wild with that huge stage. It's really cool, and it aided in technology with the wireless and with
Oh yeah.
being able to use in-ears. So
Yep.
no, you don't need monitors. You can just run around anywhere and still hear it just
Yeah,
as
really
clear
cool.
wherever you are. Very different from the old days of playing concerts where there was just on stage monitors, wedges
Yeah,
that
no
you.
technology, but like, and you said, I'm sure it's millions of dollars at each venue to put on that production, just from the amount of staff, people, trucks, rigging, all the electronics, all the instruments, right? Like just everything that goes into it. I mean, you see a time lapse of them setting it up. It's like it's mega. It's a huge undertaking, but it's
Yeah,
very
I'm
cool.
sure. Yeah, it probably takes a couple days to
Oh
set
yeah.
that up. Yeah. All right, so we're live here. Anybody coming in and people are watching, so come on in and say hello. Tell us where you're from. We're not getting too much interactivity here. This is why we stopped doing it live because for some reason Facebook is not sharing this to a lot of people. So if you are, I know there's people watching. I can see a
Oh
number.
yeah.
So come on and say hi. Tell us where you're from so we
Hey,
can get
on a
you in.
sad, somber note too, did you hear that Dan Gormley from Elevators
I
fame
did,
passed
yes,
away?
yes, I did. Dan Gormley was a friend of ours. Tony and I both played with him in a band called the Elevators in Jersey. We were like a blues rock band, and I was playing with him back in 2007, 8, around that time, maybe even 6. And the last time I saw Dan was here in New Orleans. He came here it's probably about 10 years ago now, maybe
Mm.
9, 10 years ago, and he was here and he got up and jammed with us. Super sweet guy, great guitar player. Yes, rest in peace, Dan. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
music teacher, music therapist, loved music, shared the gift of music with, thousands of people. It was his passion. He will be missed.
yes, he will definitely be missed. Yeah, it was sad to hear that. Um, Paul Diano passed away yesterday, the
Yep,
original singer from Iron Maiden.
yep, yep, yep.
Um, yeah,
And
getting old's a bitch, man.
yeah, but it was a good blast in the past too. I was talking with Joe Bergamini and George Sigler. I went out to dinner with those guys. We were reminiscing about the days of Richie's and when Tishy used to work there with them.
Mm,
And he was talking about when he first met, um, how he got introduced to Dom Famularo through Al Marinaro, who's a Tama rep at the time, at a battle of the bands. And his
ah,
band was Ransom and your band was Exire. So think back, Steve. It might have been Hanover
yeah.
High School or wherever the Battle of the Bands was.
Oh, was it? No, it was at Morris County College. I
There you
remember
go.
very,
Okay.
very well.
Yep.
Ransom was one of the bands. There was the Unmentionables was another band. Uh, uh, Swift Kick, which was Jeff. I think they played there. That was my buddy Jeff's band. Maybe
Aluminum
no,
Juju.
no, no, no. It was Swift Kick. That wasn't Jeff's band. It was and then Virgin Surgeon, which was Janet Rains, who later I played with in Little
Yes.
Sister, and
Yep.
then later she had a band called M80, a cover band in Pennsylvania, and she tragically passed away
Yeah.
several years ago now in the adrenaline mob bus accident where several people lost their lives. But yeah, that Battle of the Bands, that was the second time Exire played. That was a band I was in just out of high school. Neil Casal was the singer, guitar player, and Neil Casal went on to be very successful playing with Blackfoot and then Ryan Adams and then Chris Robinson's Brotherhood. Had 8 or 9 or 10 solo albums of his own, Neil, and he tragically passed away a few years ago. But yeah, we were kids and we played that Battle of the Bands and we lost. And the reason we lost, and Exire had won the previous year, that same Battle of the Bands. And I wasn't in the band at that time, but I was there for that show because it was a big deal for us as kids, that
Yeah. Yeah.
that thing. And we were the favorites to win because we came in as the reigning champions and
Yes.
we lost. And part of the reason we think we lost anyway, was this guy Greg Morman was our we were doing a record in this guy's studio. It's the first time any of us had been in a studio, and we did this record called Steal the Show. And it came out on cassette. And he was there for that, and he was doing the sound, and he was just being a pain in the ass to everybody, like to the organizers of the Battle of the Bands, and I think Richie supplied the gear for that, right?
Yeah. Rich's Music was the sponsor. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was just being a pain in the ass to everybody, and I think that's why we lost. Not to say that the other band, the band that won, didn't deserve it, and the band that was they were called the Unmentionables, and it was Frankie Palmer, who is now in a band called Undisputed, and he's been in that band for a long time. They used to be called Follow That Car, and they used to play at Fireside, and they used to play in Morristown. I did a couple sub gigs with him, but he's still playing. They still play down the shore, during the Jersey Shore, during the summer, and he's really good. Like, he's a great singer. Super nice guy. So they probably did deserve to win. So, because we weren't that good anyway. Whatever.
Let the best band win, as long
Yeah.
as it's not fixed.
But yeah, that's where I met Janet. I met Janet there, and we went on to play together and have a long friendship. That was, yeah, I
Well,
remember
what a
that
great
very
time that
vividly.
was back then, where you made a lot of connections. Like, I met so many of my friends, musician friends today, from back in those days of 80s and 90s, of playing gigs and having camaraderie and meeting people that went on to do great things.
Yeah,
It was a really magical, fun time where, everybody was in a band. Everyone had a band of some sort, whether it
yeah,
was original or a cover. And, then once you met this guy, you got introduced to somebody else, and then you would sub with other bands, and then you get gigs from other people, and you trade off and go back and forth. And it was like this community. And, it was just really, it was a really special time.
it was.
At least
Yeah,
up here in New Jersey, it was. It was when, like, there was tons of clubs, tons of bands playing. You could always go out, at Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, and see great bands, everywhere, all over the place.
yeah, yeah. It was a special time. We did find that sweet spot in growing up, and the right time
Yeah.
with music and community, and no cell phones, no internet. There was none of that stuff.
Yeah, you couldn't go on YouTube and watch someone deconstruct a song. You had to learn
Yeah,
it. You had to figure it out, you know?
to listen to it on
Yeah, yeah,
cassette or
yeah, or you
LP.
had to play your vinyl at a slower speed, or put your finger on it and slow it down so you could hear what that fill was?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's got it too easy today, kids out there.
These damn kids. But yeah, I just saw a picture of John DeServio, JD. He plays bass in uh, Black Label Society with
Yeah.
Zach Wild, and he a picture of him at Carnegie Hall. He's playing at Carnegie Hall with somebody else tonight, and he's a Jersey guy, and I studied with JD for a while back in '89. I want to say
Mhm.
it was probably '89. He lived down like Sayreville area. I used to drive down there to his house
And
and
JD used to
take
play a
lessons.
lot of the Modern Drummer festivals because he was a local guy. He would back up acts. I remember seeing him when the
Yeah,
festival used to come to town. I
great
think
bass
he I think
player.
he played with Tishy too in a couple of things, didn't
Oh
he?
yeah, he played in with Vinnie Moore,
Yeah.
and I just saw a post from Brian too about that. They did a tour opening for Rush. It was Vinnie Moore opening for Rush, and they
Yeah.
played at Madison Square Garden. It was a three-piece. It was Brian, Vinnie Moore, and John and JD
Yeah.
on bass. And yeah, yeah, they did it. They were friends for a long time. And then they played. No, I think that was it. I think that was the only time they played together. Um, but yeah, I haven't seen JD in a long time. But good dude, great bass player.
Yeah, no doubt.
Um, did you happen to see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction this
No, I
weekend?
did not. No.
Okay, it was
I was
Saturday
I was
night.
I was out all weekend.
I think it was Saturday. Saturday night, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Really cool. It was Foreigner was inducted, Ozzy, Dave Matthews Band, Peter
Hey, was Lou
Frampton.
Graham there for Foreigner?
Lou Graham was there, and he came out and sang a little bit of I Want to Know What Love Is, and he sounded great.
Yeah,
You
he
know,
still has a really good voice.
yeah, he looks a little rough, but he sounded great. Um,
And
uh,
was like other members of the band who had been like later members, like that guy Kelly that replaced him.
Kelly Hansen was there. He was there. He didn't sing. He was singing like backups on some stuff. The guitar player, I don't know his name. Not Mick Jones.
The other
But
guy.
the guy, he's not an original Foreigner member, but he's been with them for a long time.
And
Was
Pilson
there.
was on bass,
Jeff
right?
Pilson was there playing bass, and then Chad Smith was playing drums. Chad Smith was playing drums for a lot of stuff at the ceremony
Really?
from the Chili Peppers. But Demi Lovato was singing. Feels Like the First Time, I think it was.
Uh-huh.
And then Kelly Clarkson came out and she was singing I Want to Know What Love Is. And then Lou Graham came out and sang part of it. And Lou Graham, I mean, for my money, is one of the best like white soul singers, like rock and roll soul singers.
Oh,
He
yeah,
just,
he's got a great voice. I mean, we do Foreigner, and some of it's, doable, and some of it's just not, just, for me, at least, range-wise,
yeah.
Like, we'll do Dirty White Boy, you can sing that no problem, but if we do, like, Can't Do Hot Blooded, it's just too high, and there's a bunch of other tunes that we do, I can't recall what they are, but they're tough, because Lou Graham he's a real deal. But I
Yeah.
noticed, like, in my like like all singers today, right? Like, he's still out doing things, and it's just they dropped it. They detune it by, like, 2 steps, you know, to be able to hit the notes. But
Lou
Kelly
Graham is?
Clarkson. Huh?
Lou Graham is, you saying?
Yeah, I saw some video on YouTube of Lou Graham singing Midnight Blue, and it was way,
Oh,
way
okay.
dropped down,
Okay.
from where he usually would, because you remember
Right,
how
right,
high that
right.
was. "Whoa!"
Yeah,
Way
yeah.
up there. He was not doing that, but he sounded great. And Kelly Clarkson, when she does that thing on her show where she brings all the singers on, she sings along with them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She's got incredible voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Leo is saying Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a joke. All kinds of acts are there that shouldn't be. Many others that should be aren't. It took this long to get Foreigner there. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
That's
I
the
understand that, but I also I am a person that likes to celebrate music and celebrate bands and stuff. So I'm not as harsh a critic of the whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as some others are. And I really enjoyed the ceremony. It just gave me the feels, seeing like Slash was playing guitar with Foreigner too, and just seeing all these people up there celebrating music, and especially celebrating a specific band. And that's what it's about for me. And I know there's some band, Iron Maiden isn't in yet, I don't think, and they should be. I don't think Judas Priest is either.
Yeah, there's
I
a
don't-
bunch. I agree with Leo. There's a bunch of deserving acts that have not yet been inducted, you know.
and
But for the
and
ones that are, they're worthy. But there's a few that are not.
and ones that ones that shouldn't be. He's saying like Tribe Called Quest was inducted, and uh, um, Mary J. Blige, and those two aren't really rock and roll. So it's maybe they shouldn't be, but I don't
Well,
know.
that was
It's
like Dolly Parton getting inducted and then saying,
yeah,
"I got to go make a cover album so I could at least have a legit rock album."
yeah, it's a broad field. And Cher was inducted, and it's like, why would it take this long to get Cher inducted into the Rock and Roll? Like Dave Matthews Band has been around since the '90s. Cher has been around since the '70s.
Right.
Or you know,
Yep.
early '70s.
It's also
So
prolific. Like think about Dave Matthews Band, right? They tour nonstop, so
mhm.
they're always out on the road, always playing. You know, and Cher to some extent too, more so in the past, right, when she was more in her heyday of her career. But I think that has a lot to do with it too. It's like the prevalency of what the act is doing today. Like nowadays.
Yeah, I suppose. And then Ozzy being inducted was really cool. Ozzy has been inducted already with Black Sabbath, so this is his second time, but now he's inducted as a solo artist.
Right.
And he was there. Ozzy's not in the best health, but so he didn't sing and he didn't even stand up, but he was dressed up really cool like Ozzy, and they made a
Yeah.
throne for him with like bats and all stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
Um, and and they did a let's see, Crazy Train. Trying to remember who sang it. but Wolfgang Van Halen was there and played the solo, played the guitar part, and he was, flawless on that. Jelly Roll was one of the singers. I think he did "Mama, I'm Coming Home," I think, and then they did "No More Tears," and I think that was Billy Idol was there singing. I think he sang "No More Tears." Uh, and Robert Trujillo, I don't know how to say his last name, the bass player from Metallica,
Trujillo, yeah.
Trujillo. He was there playing bass for the Ozzy songs, and Chad Smith again playing drums.
Hey, did you hear the rumor that Alex Van Halen is going to do an Eddie tribute, and he's going to have Jason Newsted on bass, Joe Satriani on guitar, and David Lee Roth
I
fronting the band.
I know there's Alex Van Halen's been in the news. I know there was some article, some interview in some publication. I haven't read it, and they were talking about it this morning on Howard Stern too. And I don't I don't know much about it, but
No, I don't either, but I just heard about it, and I was thinking to myself, if he was gonna do a tribute to Eddie, why wouldn't he go out back on the road with Michael Anthony on bass, Wolfie on guitar, and Sammy on front? Not that
I
Dave's the original VH guy, but he shot.
yeah, I think that there's a strained relationship between Alex and Sammy,
And probably
according
between
to
Alex and Michael Anthony too, when he got
and
fired
Michael
from
Anthony.
Wolfie,
Yeah,
and he was probably like, "See ya."
yeah.
But you
I
would
don't
think,
know.
think about all the seminal albums of Van Halen, right? From, Van Halen 1 all the way up through, all the way into the '90s. Michael Anthony was the rhythm section with Alex, you know? So if you
Yeah.
play with someone for 35, 40 years, that's I just can't imagine that you wouldn't wanna rekindle that and be like, "Hey, let's relive, our heyday and our experiences of like, I just saw Dream Theater just played their first gig in London with Portnoy back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like maybe 2, 3 days ago.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Alex Van Halen has never been like in the media too much. He's more of a reclusive guy. So I don't really know
But he just
why.
auctioned off all his stuff too. He just sold all of every piece of Van Halen gear that he owned, he sold.
Really.
Yeah. He
Hmm.
auctioned it off. So you could buy one of Alex Van Halen's cymbals, for it's only like, $35,000. You could buy that. You
Yeah, yeah.
could buy his 1984 drum set. You can buy all kinds of stuff. He was selling everything. And they asked him, "Why are you selling it?" And he said, "Because I want to, it's all in storage, and I'd rather have people that buy it that could use it and play it and make music with it."
I want the gong that he lit on fire.
Yes. But then he got rid of all that stuff, and now it's like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go back out on tour now, and I'll get Peisty to make me all new cymbals, and I'll get Ludwig to make me all new drums, and I'll get a whole tour kit out of it.
Is Van Halen in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I don't even know.
I think so. I believe so. I'm
I
not
hope so.
100% sure. I'll look it up, Steve, while you entertain the crowd.
Okay. I'd like to go to Cleveland too to visit it because I do like nostalgia and you know museums, and I'd like to check it out sometime. Take a road trip to Cleveland, and I can just say hello Cleveland, and and check out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Um, but yeah, so the Ozzy performance was good. Billy Idol was a little rough on it. He had a little trouble hitting some of those notes, but Steve Stevens was there playing guitar too. Those two are inseparable, I guess. And then Dave Matthews was great, and he played his own a medley of his hits, him and his band, and that was pretty cool. I didn't catch the beginning. I didn't see the share part, so I'll go back and watch that. It was Dua Lipa was out there doing some share tribute singing, I guess. But I I get it,
Oh,
Leo,
so
and
so Van Halen Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony, Eddie did not attend because he didn't show up because of a dispute over what songs Velvet Revolver would play in the tribute.
uh,
So they were inducted, but he did not attend.
Velvet Revolver. So that was a while ago.
Yeah.
because that was why are names that's just not coming to me today?
Who, you mean Matt
Scott
Sorum?
Weiland.
Scott Weiland, Matt Sorum,
Scott Weiland.
Slash?
Yeah. Yeah. Slash. It's a great album. That I think they only did one album, but
What do you think about Linkin Park with a chick singer now?
I heard it. I heard a little bit, and it sounds pretty good. I know some people are not thrilled about it. I don't really have a strong opinion either way.
Hey, I think if it brings the music back to the fans and they can go see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not Chester Bennington, but hey, they're back on the road and you get to go see them.
Yeah, Chester had
You
a
know?
very distinct sound
Oh
with his
yeah.
voice, and so it's tough to
But I tell you, I saw him with
miss
Stone
that.
Temple Pilots, and he chameleonized right into the Scott Weiland role, and he sounded just like him, man. He did
Yeah,
not sound like Chester Bennington doing, Stone Temple Pilots. He sounded like Scott Weiland.
yeah. So this girl doesn't really sound like him,
No, she doesn't.
um,
Maybe
but
a little bit when she does the screaming stuff, but not the type of range that he had, you know?
yeah, it's like Lizzie Hale's doing Skid Row shows or was doing Skid Row shows,
Yeah.
And she sounds great doing Sebastian.
Yeah, well,
Sebastian's part.
she's in that wheelhouse, you know?
Yeah, she is in that wheelhouse. Um, yeah, it's tough. We're doing In the End. We've been doing it lately, Lincoln Park, and I
Uh-huh.
do the rap,
Yep.
which is cool. And I've known that rap for so long because I've known that song for so long. Uh, so it's pretty cool to do it.
The song "Given Up" is one of my favorites.
Yeah, yeah, they got a lot of great ones. That
Chester, he
Hybrid
cranks
Theory
on
is.
that one.
I don't know. Is Given Up? I don't think that's on Hybrid Theory. Is that the second album?
I don't know what album it's off. I just know that is he holds some pretty incredible notes on that song.
Yeah, yeah, he was great. What a
And
shame, man.
yeah, he goes from that raspy, gravelly voice to that crystal clear, like powerful, high pitched, that unleashes that powerful voice of his, and it just sounds great.
Yeah, I saw
Submarine
them
Commander.
back on that tour. They when I was it was around 90. It had to be 91 because I was living on Long Island in New York, and me and my brother went to um, Jones Beach, which is amphitheater outdoor, great place to see a show. If anybody is ever in that area and wants to go check out a band, that's right on the water. It's beautiful. And it was like a radio station sponsored show with a bunch of different bands, and Lincoln Park was one of them. And yeah, that was back in their prime, man. That was really cool. That was the only time I saw them, but that was great. Susie called somebody an idiot. I don't know if she's calling me an idiot, you an idiot, or Chester Bennington an idiot, but
Who
she
knows?
just typed idiot. So
Noted.
maybe she's talking. I don't know. Maybe she'll clear it up if she's still watching.
Potentially.
Yeah. I hope it's one of us that she called an idiot. I
Probably
mean, if
you.
it's probably me,
Not me.
but if it's both of us, she should have pluralized that.
Idiots.
Idiots. We're both idiots. I don't think we're idiots. I don't think either one of us is an idiot or said anything to
Episode
warrant that.
222, Two Idiots.
I got a cough. I got to hit the cough button.
Brought to you by don'tbeanidiot.com. Friends calling you an idiot? Change your behavior. Change your perspective. Don't be an idiot.
Right. Good thing I got that button.
That was a
Boy,
word from our sponsor, Steve, about idiots.
good job.
Thanks.
So anyway, that was
You know who still sounds great? Sammy Hagar.
oh
Not-
yeah.
not
Oh,
a
Sammy
huge
Hagar was there too. He was singing Foreigner. He was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame there for Foreigner. I forget what he sang, but boy, did he sound good. And he's in his 70s, man.
Yeah, and he's still cranking it out, because I just saw an article where, he's on tour with this 5150 thing, right? That Van Halen, he's doing a bunch of Van Halen tunes, and Jason Bonham had to leave the tour because he had a medical, some kind of emergency at home, and
Okay.
they called Kenny Arnoff. So Kenny
Of course.
Arnoff hopped on a plane, red-eyed it there, and Sammy said he had less than 24 hours to learn the set, and he played like 95%. Perfect, no mistakes. Sammy said I made more mistakes than he did.
Sammy is a demigod, says Leo.
Yes, Sammy is great. I think he's, he's got a great voice. He's got great stage presence, but he's just one of those guys where he's got that identifiable voice, but he can still belt it out. I mean, he can't hit all the high stuff like he used to. I don't think he can sing Dreams, today, but
Right.
back in the day, you saw them live, which I did, and he sounded just like the record. He hit all the notes.
Yeah, he's always had a really powerful voice, and
Yeah.
I've never seen him live. I never saw him with Van Halen or solo stuff or anything. But he seems like he's like aging really well. Is as a person and as a singer. He's just he seems like happy. So that's something to be said for Tequila, I think.
Well,
So
I read an article with him where he said, he learned, like he said, before he joined Van Halen. We may have talked about this last time. I think I said he said, I worked out every day. I was in great shape. I didn't drink. I didn't do any drugs. And I had a great marriage. He said, a year after joining Van Halen, I didn't work out anymore. I was an alcoholic. I was doing all kinds of drugs and I was getting divorced. So he said it kind of corrupted him. So after that
yeah,
whole thing, then when he like purged the system of the Van Halen, uh, he then got back on track to say, like, I want to be healthy. And like he was a clean living type of guy, because he wanted longevity and he also wanted to preserve his voice.
right.
So through it all, he managed to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think he still drinks though.
Yeah, but I mean, voice wise, he still sounds like 90% of what he used to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he sounded great Saturday at that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing. I can't
Yeah.
remember what he was singing, but it was like Feels Like the First Time or Hot Blooded or one of the big Foreigner hits. Foreigner had a lot of
Yeah.
hits, but
But that's the
uh,
thing. I mean, like if you're a drummer, it's a very physical instrument, right? So you got to keep yourself in shape. And as you age, you may develop problems that may hinder you from playing. Like when Neil retired, right? He just said, I just can't play at the level that I want to play at anymore.
right.
But for a singer, I think it's even tougher because once you hit that point where you can't hit the notes anymore, like you either got to fake it or you got to detune it or it just doesn't sound good.
Yes. Yeah.
Like some of these bands at the ends of their careers, like they're still trying to do it, but the singer's like clearly not able to cover, anything of what they used to do. So it's like, in my opinion, like find someone on YouTube like Journey did, that could sing the
Yeah.
songs the way they used to sound, and you could still be there, but maybe you're just not singing every song or not hitting the high stuff.
Yeah, that's what some bands have done, and like we talked about just now, Linkin Park and Skid Row and whatever. Um, yeah, that's the toughest part in the band is for the singer when you're aging,
But
because
the Skid Row bring like Lizzie Hale, and there was someone else before her, I think, that was singing, but that got sick or something, right, and had to come off the tour.
yeah, maybe that's why she was singing. The
Yeah, yeah.
guy got sick.
Is it
They,
'cause
they
I don't follow them, but is that 'cause Sebastian Bach can't do it anymore, or he's feuding with the band and they don't
oh
want
yeah, they haven't had a good relationship in a long time.
Oh, so yeah, so he's just out.
And Dave Snake Sabo is the band leader, I guess, and he has stated unequivocally that he will not work with Sebastian ever.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know if Sebastian can hit that stuff now anyway, either.
Yeah, I don't know either. Like I said, he's older for sure, but
Like even when he was touring back in their prime, he struggled a bit live, but he was probably partying his face off too.
oh, yeah.
Um, but yeah. Yeah, it's tough to be so kids out there, if you're starting a band and you're singing, don't sing too high that you're not gonna be able to hit it in 30 years.
Or just stay sober and don't smoke and take care of yourself,
That you could do that too.
right?
I don't know that there's any kids out there starting rock bands. I don't know if it's
No,
dead.
there is, Steve. There
Yeah,
is. Yeah, there
yeah.
is. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
I just saw, one of my uncles on my mom's side, his daughter, uh, has a bunch of girls at school, and they're forming a rock band, and she's gonna be the drummer.
Okay.
So, they have a five-piece all-girl rock band.
There you go. I like it.
All
More
original.
we need more representation of the ladies.
We do, and you just need more representation in general,
Mhm.
of kids starting bands. Because, like you said, no one's and something that's disappointing to me on YouTube is that everyone gets so enamored by all of the tricks and the cool stuff that they see. And, I think a lot of kids get discouraged because they see some of these people that are at the top of their game with these theatrics and the things that they do. And they say like, I'll never be able to do that. And they kind of get like discouraged from playing.
Mm.
They need to be inspired to play. Like you can do it. You don't necessarily have to do all these tricks and do all this craziness. There's plenty of people out there. Oh, but if I don't, have a shtick, I won't get the views. So it's become more of a shticky thing, clickbait.
Yeah, yeah. Times have changed.
Times are changing, Steve.
Oh boy.
You got to
All
change
right.
with them or get left behind.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm glad we did this live and got all this interaction.
Episode 222. 222, Steve.
Yes.
222. And today's the 22nd.
Yes. I don't think we'll be back next week or the week after because I don't know. Next week is Halloween week, and then the week after is Election Day. So
let's see, Steve. What?
Get out and vote if you live in the United States. Get out and vote on Election Day or before. It is important that your voice be heard, even if it doesn't count. I'm going to try and vote early, but yeah.
Number 222 is believed to symbolize balance, harmony, and spiritual alignment. It encourages enhanced connections in personal and professional life. There you go, kids. Episode 222.
Excellent. All right, folks. CoverBandCentral.com is where you can find out all this stuff about Cover Band Central, including the upcoming radio station. Actually, the radio station is live now, so you can go live 365, search Cover Band Central, and it's on the air. You can check it out. There's a bunch of songs on there, and check that out and donate to the cause if you feel.
Support Cover Band Central Radio. Let's go.
Yes. And all of our previous podcasts, if you enjoyed this, are on all the podcast networks out there for your listening enjoyment, or you can find them on our YouTube channel.
So take 221 hours of your spare time and get caught up to speed.
Yes. Or at your leisure, do that.
Yes.
But either way, be good out there, keep rocking, and vote, and we'll see you next time.
Cover Band Central.